Welcome, listeners. Today, we'll explore how two strangers can smoothly start a conversation. Emma, when you meet someone new, what kind of opening lines do you find most effective?
Honestly, I love using openers like, "What brings you here?" It's casual and invites the other person to share about themselves, which helps avoid awkward silences right from the start.
That's a great point. A question like that is open-ended, so it encourages more than just a simple yes or no. Why do you think open-ended questions are so powerful in these moments?
They're essential because they show genuine interest and keep the conversation flowing. For example, instead of asking, "Are you from here?" you might say, "Have you always lived here?" That invites a story.
Let's transition to nonverbal cues. Jason, how do you use body language to make someone feel comfortable when you first meet them?
I try to mirror their posture subtly and maintain open, relaxed gestures. It's like sending a silent message that says, "I'm approachable." Research shows mirroring increases trust and connection.
So, mirroring isn't about copying every move, but rather reflecting a similar vibe. Have you noticed any cultural differences in how people respond to these signals?
Absolutely. In more reserved cultures, less overt mirroring might be better. But in most Western contexts, a friendly smile and matching energy go a long way toward building rapport fast.
Once you've broken the ice, how do you move beyond surface level topics without it feeling forced?
I usually pick up on something they mention and ask a follow up. For instance, if someone says they like photography, I'll ask, "What kind of photos do you love taking?" It deepens the exchange.
That's such an effective strategy. It's almost like you're handing them the mic to share their passion. How do you know when it's the right moment to go deeper?
If they light up or use phrases like, "I've always wanted to try that," it's a green light. Emotional cues signal they're comfortable opening up a bit more.
Let's dig further into follow-up questions. Why are they so crucial in making conversations feel authentic, Emma?
Follow up questions show you're listening, not just waiting to talk. They create a sense of being heard. For example, if Jason says he's new in town, I might ask, "What brought you here?" Or, "How are you finding the city?"
That's a great illustration. A 2017 Harvard study even found that people who ask more follow-ups are rated as more likable. Have you ever had a conversation where a good follow-up changed the dynamic?
Definitely. I once asked about someone's favorite music, and when I followed up about their first concert, the whole mood shifted, they became animated, and we instantly bonded.
Let's pivot to sharing personal experiences. Jason, how much should you reveal about yourself to build trust without oversharing?
It's about balance. I try to match the level of openness the other person shows. If they mention a hobby, I'll share a related story of my own. For instance, if Emma says she loves hiking, I might talk about my first mountain trip.
So it's almost like a dance give and take. Do you think sharing vulnerabilities can accelerate friendship, or is it risky?
Vulnerability can spark connection, but timing matters. A light, humorous anecdote is usually safe early on. Deeper stories can come as you sense more trust developing, which keeps things authentic.
Now, let's talk about how to react to what someone shares. Emma, what are some natural ways to show genuine interest, especially in English?
Phrases like, "That's so interesting," or "I can totally relate," work wonders. Using expressive intonation also signals that you mean it. Plus, paraphrasing their point, like saying, "So you started learning guitar during lockdown?" shows engagement.
Empathy is key. Sometimes, just saying, that must have been tough, can make someone feel understood. How do you avoid sounding fake or overenthusiastic?
Matching your response to the story's tone is important. If someone shares a challenge, a soft, "Wow, that sounds challenging," is better than an exaggerated reaction. Being present and sincere always shines through.
Let's shift gears and highlight some informal expressions and phrasal verbs that sound natural in English conversations.
Sure, phrasal verbs like bring up or get into make speech more native like. For example, instead of discuss, say, "I wanted to bring up something," or "How did you get into photography?" It's casual and engaging.
And expressions like, nice to meet someone like-minded, or I've always wanted to try that, help you sound friendly and approachable. How can learners practice incorporating these naturally?
Repeating real life dialogues, watching movies, or joining language meetups can help. It's about exposure and practice over time, These phrases become second nature.
Moving ahead, keeping conversations alive is a skill in itself. Jason, what strategies do you use when a chat starts to fizzle out?
I usually pivot topics by referencing something in our surroundings or circling back to an earlier point. For instance, by the way, you mentioned you play music. What instrument? It's like passing the conversational ball.
That's a clever tactic. Studies show that people who skillfully transition between topics are perceived as better conversationalists. Any tips for reading the room and knowing when to change the subject?
Watch for body language. If someone looks distracted or gives short answers, it's time to switch gears. Even a simple, "So, what do you usually do for fun?" can revive the energy.
Let's touch on pronunciation since it affects first impressions. Emma, how can learners use intonation and rhythm to sound more welcoming in English?
Rising intonation on questions, linking words smoothly, and using stress for emphasis all help. For example, "What brings you here?" With a gentle rise at the end sounds more inviting than a flat tone.
That's true. Practicing with real-life audio or even shadowing podcasts can boost confidence. Have you noticed how intonation can change the meaning of a phrase?
Absolutely! Saying, "Really?" with surprise versus skepticism signals different emotions. Being mindful of this allows you to convey warmth and openness naturally.
To wrap up, let's invite listeners to a speaking challenge. Imagine you're meeting someone new at a gathering. What's your opening line, Jason?
I'd say, "Hi, I'm Jason. What brings you here today?" Then I'd listen and ask, "Have you always lived in this city?" Or, "What do you usually do for fun around here?"
Perfect. Listeners, try practicing these phrases aloud. Notice your intonation and see if you can build on each answer with a follow-up. Emma, any final tips?
Don't be afraid to bring up personal anecdotes. Just keep them light and relevant. And remember, every great friendship starts with a simple hello. Go out and give it a try.